Hello and welcome back to Nafajat, our Hagir show. And today I am honored to have two amazing Sudanese entrepreneur, we can say, film producers and a producer. They work together to bring awareness to a very talented and someone who had um, a huge impact in my childhood, myself and many Sudanese people, and for it to be available and ready in both languages and allowing people to know about Sudanese cinema and about a special story called Handful of Dates or حفنة تمر. مرحب بكم الاثنين. Hello. Can you please introduce yourself and tell our audience who you are?
Yeah, I guess I'll start. My name is Hashim Hassan. I'm the director of حفنة. I am from Sacramento, California, but I currently live in Fresno. And I met Mamdooh Salih at university at the UC Santa Barbara, where we both started working together in theater and then moved on to film in LA.
Tamam. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mamdooh Salih. I'm the producer of A Handful of Dates, and I was born in Sudan. I was raised in Los Angeles, and I got my filmmaking degree from the University of California, Santa Barbara, where I met Hashim, my dear friend. And yeah, I'm currently in Arizona in the United States, working as a freelance videographer. So thank you so much, Hagir, for having us on the show. It's really our pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is all mine, and I'm sure we are going to hear more about you both. But before we dive into the film and what got the idea and how it all started, I would like to hear a little bit about your upbringing, both of you. Like, how did you grow up? What obstacles that you faced, and what got you to where you are right now? Like, how did you make it to California, your family? Like, if you can give us a little bit insight about both of you, that will be appreciated.
Yeah. So I guess I should start with how my parents met. I'm Mexican American and Sudanese. My parents met at university here in the 1960s at Fresno State. My dad was a Sudanese immigrant, an engineering student, and my mother was first generation or second generation Mexican American, and they met at Fresno State University, and shortly after that got married. I was born in the Bay Area. However, in '87, my family and I moved to Khurtum, where I sort of had my initial development in Khurtum until the military coup happened. I should also mention my father was teaching at the time, and he was also trying to teaching at the University of Khurtum in the electrical engineering department, and he was also trying to get his computer business off the ground in Khurtum. And then the military coup happened in '89, and I think because of my dad's politics, I think it was probably best, he thought it best for us to come back to the US. And so we settled in Sacramento because the prices of the housing in the Bay Area had already started going up. And so, we settled in Sacramento, and that's where I, went to middle school, elementary school, middle school, high school. And I started getting into theater in high school as well. And that continued at UC Santa Barbara, where I focused on Middle East studies. But on the side, of course, my real love was always directing, acting, writing. And that's where I met Mamdooh. Also at that time, I was introduced to Salih and his stories as a Middle East studies major at Santa Barbara. And that's when I first read Mawsam al-Hijra ila Shimal, Season of Migration to the North. And that was a huge influence for me. And at the time, even though it was years before we actually would end up making one of his stories into a film, I had always wanted to, make his stories into cinema because I thought it was so poetic, you know, visually poetic. And I was always looking for that opportunity. And in LA, where I moved to initially focus on acting, eventually I, you know, shifted to directing. I went to film school at the American University, or sorry, the American Film Institute. I did spend a year at the American University in Cairo, but that was just a year. And that's where I focused on directing, and I learned how to direct on set with actors, with a crew, collaborating with other, other roles on set, the production designer, the cinematographer, the producer. And so that's where I got my first introduction to the life of filmmaking. And of course, Mumdooh and I worked on a few projects on the side in LA when we were living there, until, you know, we kind of found this project together. That eventually brought us to Sudan. And that was my first time being in Sudan since 1990 when I left when I was about 5 years old. So with this film, it was also a reintroduction into Sudan for me, at least. And it really got me in touch with that side of my culture, or that side of my roots. And so that kind of, after film school, I realized I wanted to, I think I'm continuing on here, but yeah, after film school, I wanted to make a short film based off of one of Tayyip Salih's short stories, and I found an opportunity to do that. And so that's when I called Mamdooh, and here we are. So.
Before we go to Mamdooh, Rani is asking you, can you speak Arabic?
يعني بسيط، لسه بسيطة، لكن بتكلم شوية، بفهم شوية، لكن لازم تونس أكتر.
تتكلم أكتر عشان تعرف أكتر.
أيوة.
فالبرنامج بتاعنا ده very laid back، يعني لو حبيت إنه تقول لك كلمتين عربي في النص و you go back to English or even translate for your own self, go for it. So it can reach all the audience. فما يعني ما تفيل تحس إنه أنت لازم تتكلم عربي 100% خطير عشان تتكلم عربي.
فاهم.
تمام؟
تمام.
اوكي. ممدوح.
طيب اهلا وسهلا، السلام عليكم. انا مولود في السودان، اتولدت في السودان واتربيت في لوس أنجلوس. يلا I was when I was about 3 years old, we went to Kuwait. مشينا الكويت actually. So in the year 1990 is when we moved to the United States. My family was actually evacuated from the war in Kuwait. So we were actually there living, having our life. And then it was during the war that we got evacuated because my brother was an American citizen. So that's how I came to the United States. That was like 1990. And so I grew up in Los Angeles. And I never really knew that I wanted to be into art and filmmaking and storytelling until I went to college. Actually, it was in high school. But, when I went to college is when I really got into theater. I did theater for 4 years when I was in college, and I really got into it. And then on the side, I was also a film studies major because I wanted to get into the production side of things as well. Just kind of looking ahead into post-graduation and what I wanted to do and things like that. So yeah, it's been a great journey so far, and just glad to be here. And Hashim, he called me about the film, and I thought Hashim was crazy when he called me about this idea. I thought it was a pretty crazy idea, but here we are.
Yeah.
Crazy and creative. في like خط صغير بيفصل بيننا وبين الجن والفن.
Right.
Some people say. Continue.
Yeah, no, that's it. Thank you.
Perfect. طيب كويس. Let's get back للفيلم. حفنة التمر, handful of dates, والطيب صالح. How this whole idea started. كيف انتوا يعني شنو اللي خلاك انك تفكر في الفيلم ده، وليه تحديدا الفيلم ده؟ ويعني الطيب صالح عنده كتب كثيرة، يعني زي ما ذكرت انت موسم الهجرة للشمال, so many other books.
Right. صح. بعد خرجت, after I graduated من American Film Institute, I was very happy with the training and the experiences I received collaborating with a lot of these other filmmakers on set. Although I felt like I hadn't found my voice, or really made a story that had my heart behind it. I was, it was mostly just practical things that I had to make in film school, excuse me, in order to just be a collaborator and learn and train. But I was looking for something after film school that I felt was very cinematic, and also something that could connect me to my roots in a way, because I felt like I was in LA for many years and Santa Barbara before that, and just away from a lot of aspects of Sudanese culture. And for some reason, I gravitated towards Tayyip Salih stories again after graduation, and just to look to see if there was something I could adapt into a movie. And of course, I read Season of Migration to the North. I read some of his other stories, The Wedding of Zayn, and I felt like A Handful of Dates still contained a lot of the themes and the commonalities between his stories, but in a much smaller form, in a much more condensed form that could be better suited for a short film. And specifically the themes of intergenerational or cultural conflict between the young and the old, and also identity crisis, being of mixed race, being mixed race, being Sudanese, being Mexican, being American, having certain cultural traditions that our dad wanted to have us abide by growing up in the States, and the conflict that emerged between that and growing up in the United States. So these are some of the themes that I felt I could relate to with a lot of Tayyip Salih stories, because some of his characters, and in this particular story, the character of Mahmoud, they're dealing with similar identity crises, as we call them. And I also thought his stories were always visually poetic and would lend themselves well to something cinematic. And that's ultimately what led me to choose A Handful of Dates. And I knew I couldn't really do it on my own, because I hadn't been to Sudan in years, and my command of Arabic wasn't so good. And Mumdooh at that point had been my collaborator for a lot of different projects for several years, and so that's what kind of prompted me to reach out to him about that.
Perfect. In a little bit, I'm gonna try to share the screen and play the trailer, unless you have it, Mamdooh, and you wanna play it?
I do have it. I can play it on my end. If I'm able to share my screen, I think I can pull it up. Let me see here.
And while Mamdooh is doing this, أول حاجة congratulations, يعني مبروك للنجاح اللي حصل للفيلم. برضو شوية هاشم لو تكلمت لنا عن الفوز في مهرجانات تم، وهسه منتظرين شنو يعني.
بعد المهرجانات, what's next for the film?
Yeah, which awards that you got so far? How many awards?
Yeah.
Where did you enter the film into, and what is next?
Yeah, I'll have to recall all the ones that we we submitted to, but we initially played at the Pan-African Film Festival, and that was in competition. That was in LA. That started last February. The film also got an award at the Best Shorts Festival, if I'm not mistaken. It got an award of excellence there. It played at an Algerian online film festival called the Digital Gate International Film Festival and got a silver prize there. And then just recently, it was, of course, awarded at the Arizona International Film Festival, a jury award for creative achievement. So far, it's won about 3 awards. We've played at Toronto Liftoff, obviously Pan-African. Help me out here, Mamdooh. We've played at a few, so there's been quite a few, but they're kind of elusive right now. But yeah, no, we're very happy that we never really expected the film to kind of like, get this wide of a reception and this kind of reception. So yeah, we're very thankful and grateful for that, and that people seem to have connected with it, so.
And we have Talal is watching too. Talal from Sudan Film Factory.
Yeah.
Talal Afif.
Yes. You gotta send our regards to Talal. Yeah. Talal was very helpful.
Okay, this is ready. Should I play it now?
Okay, go ahead and play it. نحضر جزء من حفنة التمر أو التريلر بتاعت حفنة التمر ونواصل بعد ذاك.
وعليكم السلام والرحمة. ما شاء الله أم حميد.
شوف أنت بتشوف ولا ردا يطمن.
أنا حصل
خزلتك قبال لا؟
أبدا والله.
يا تغني اللي كنت قاعد تغنيها دي.
يا ولد تعال يا ولد ما شوي. نتكلم في الموضوع ده بعدين.
دي جزء من التريلر والموفي. الفيلم بتاع حفنة التمر handful of dates موجود حاليا في يوتيوب as a trailer. مش كده؟ اللي عايز يحضره يمشي وين؟ If anyone want to watch the movie where should they go؟
اللي عايز يحضروا حاليا نحن لسه في المهرجانات والاكزيبيشن اللي بيكون خارج السوشيال ميديا واليوتيوب وحاجات زي دي. فيعني عموما الفيلم بياخذ له مرحلة في المهرجانات. هي المهرجانات سنوية، فغالبا انت بتاخذ لك زي السنة كده بتمر على المهرجانات، وبعد ذاك بتشوف لك نوع من التوزيع للفيلم. توزيع اللي هو الديستريبيوشن. طبعا بالنسبة للشورت فيلمز، الشورت فيلمز ما بتكون تجارية عموما. انت ما بتتاجر بالشورت فيلمز، ف it's not profit making. You don't really sell short films. You can, but very rare cases do you sell the short films. هي الأفلام الطويلة اللي بتكون profit making و investment business ventures وحاجات زي دي. For the short films, you take it to the film festivals and you try to get as much experience وتاخذ الخبرة في المهرجانات وفي صناعة الفيلم، وبعد ذاك بتشوف لك توزيع بيكون online. Most of the time they end up online. So we're nearing the end of our journey with the film festivals. So it's been out for a while and it's gone through all the film festivals, and once you see the same film festivals start to come, that's when you know you've gone through the whole year. So sometimes لكن في جهات organizations بتكون عاوزة تعرض الفيلم بتاعك في حاجات يعني تانية، يعني مثلا في cultural centers ولا museums ولا online platforms بيكونوا عاوزين يعرضوا الفيلم، وبنخليهم يعني برضو بنعرضهم معاه وبنخش معاهم في زومات وحاجات زي دي. But in terms of the film festivals, yeah, it's an annual round. So you make a year round and then you just, wherever you can distribute it after that, you distribute it. So hopefully it'll go on Vimeo, maybe it'll go on our website. Maybe we'll just send people to the a handful of datesfilm.com. You can go to the website and maybe we'll just put it up on the website, hopefully within the next couple of months. So I think we're almost finishing.
Tamam. Very good. Because I'm definitely interested, and I know many people are interested into seeing this. Well, I see that you had translation, so that's opening it up for more audience to enjoy and watch and listen. While it's playing in Arabic, there is a translation in the bottom. People can understand what is going on. So what is next for both of you? We will jump from حتة لحتة كده. لكن what's next? What's planned for like Hashim and Mamdooh together?
Yeah, الأهم شيء حاسة إنه just staying busy with projects and really building the foundation of a production company here in California that I can then use to get work. وكمان working on short films and continuing to work on ultimately a feature film, hopefully by this year. And inshallah, I would also like to act as well in some of these projects. And so on the one hand, it's building something that can be commercially successful as a production company, and also pushing myself as a مخرج and also an actor as well. And focusing on projects here in the States are important, I think, for me, before I go back to Sudan to make another film, which hopefully will be sooner than later, inshallah.
Mamdooh?
Yes. So إذا في حاجة أنا تعلمتها في المشروع ده إنه صناعة الأفلام والسينما برنامج طويل ومشروع طويل جدا جدا. It's a long journey. فرحلة طويلة في الزول يعني just to take your time and to focus on the craft. I think what I would like to do is I have a few short film ideas that I'm not sure which one is going to take off. Lakin I think my next couple of films will also be short films, basically working on the craft. برضو يعني إذا في حاجة تانية تعلمتها في المشروع ده إنه أنا بالنسبة لي لسه يعني في حاجات كثيرة في صناعة الأفلام أنا لازم أتعلمها وأتقنها بمستوى أعلى يعني. So I just realized that I have a lot more to learn. So it's nice because it's really good practice and you get to make all your mistakes and you know you get to learn from everything. Lakin I do have a few short film ideas that I'm hoping one of them will take off very soon, and then hopefully sometime within the next few years looking into a feature film. But right now I'm a lot of my focus is on business projects. So, and this is important, I think, لأنه نحن يعني artists we have a hard time sometimes making just a regular living just to live our lives, and then we have to make art on the side as well. So the goal is to make money with your art. I think a lot of artists struggle with that, and so it hinders the progress because you have to find some other way of making money. So I'm also working on how can I align myself so that I'm making money with my craft as well. So whether that's through commercial projects or maybe engaging in the film industry somehow, so that I'm comfortable enough to be able to focus and work on these passion projects that hopefully, if you can make feature films as your passion projects, then you can make enough money to be able to be a full-time filmmaker. So there's a lot going on, like in terms of films, hopefully short films, a couple of short film ideas that I have. And then just, you'll probably, if anybody following me on social media, you'll probably see a lot of commercial work coming out soon, hopefully.
Hopefully, and that's one of the issues, I think, when لما يقول لك starving or struggling actors or artists, لأنه اللايف بتاعتنا هنا ما fair. يعني it's not fair towards someone talented. I can go and learn and have a profession, but to be talented and able to do what you guys do, it should be awarded somehow. I don't know yet. I'm still thinking of an idea that I could come up with, so someone like you could be able to live comfortably and then at the same time be able to use the gift that they have, because not everyone is giving this gift. That's why it's a gift. Anyways, a lot of young people here, I'm sure they're gonna benefit from hearing your experience, your advice. What would you give someone who is trying to pursue this? That would be the first part. And before that, I want to say how happy and proud I am to know of two young Sudanese artists who are doing this. And unfortunately, not so many people know or understand that. Even if you grew up or you were raised in Sudan for a short bit of your time, when you move to a different place, you have to adapt. You have to learn the area you're in, and then you become part of it. This is, it's hard for a lot of parents to digest, and they not just stop their kids from pursuing their dreams, but they might kill that dream. I'm sure your parents are supportive, or maybe they're not. We want to hear that. Start with Hashim.
I guess I can start. It's challenging growing up in the U.S. I mean, excuse me. Our parents, I got 10 minutes every time.
كهربتك قطعت.
السودان حس. So our parents, our Sudanese parents, are always concerned, because it does come from a place of the concern comes out of a place of love, because the system here and elsewhere is focused on productivity and consumerism and making a living and working at a 9-to-5 and corporate culture. And so it's hard, as Mumdooh pointed out. It's really challenging to both pursue your art and also make a decent living at the same time, and still get all the things that we all love and want, a stable life, a house, a marriage, so I think something important to note is that parents are concerned that they don't want their child to just be a struggling or a starving artist. And so that's there. But when it came to filmmaking, you really have to be really passionate about it, because unless you're kind of born into this, or you're the benefiter, you're the recipient of nepotism or something, it's a long, arduous struggle, to get your stories made. And, just know that signing up to it, I had visions of grandeur when I first, thought about doing filmmaking. I thought I was going to just, it was going to be similar to my acting experience. I was just going to knock one out the park and, just make a career out of that. But the truth is it's a struggle. It's a grind, and it may take some time and a lot of sacrifice before you see, you know, an income coming out of that, or get some kind of success or recognition. You know, it's a lonely road at times, and that goes for a lot of different arts too. And so I would just say, know what you're signing up for. But if it's what you want to do and you're super passionate and you can't see yourself doing anything else, then I guess, you know, you've answered the question. You know, just know that it comes with a lot of sacrifice and challenges. And, you know, my parents, especially my dad, was very concerned initially when I told him I wanted to be a filmmaker. I mean, both my older siblings are doctors. My dad's an engineer. You know, he wanted his children, I think my father wanted his children to find a more traditional path in terms of making a living. And I think being the youngest of three and having a little more freedom to kind of explore, you know, kind of maybe gave me an opportunity to kind of forge a new path. But yeah, no, my whole family, particularly my father, I think when I initially told him, was concerned about it. And it really wasn't until this project, a handful of dates, where my father kind of became a little more supportive, you know, a little more tolerant of it. But of course, your parents are concerned that you're, you know, how can you make a living with this? And so, yeah, you just have to know yourself well enough to know that, you know, this is what you want to do, because otherwise you can do any other job, you know, and kind of avoid a lot of heartache and struggle, you know. So I don't know, that's sort of my take on that. Yeah.
Mamdooh?
Yeah, definitely. My advice is كونوا طموحين. كونوا طموحين جدا وما تستسلموا وما تقيفوا، لأنه رواية القصص دي حاجة مهمة جدا ومسؤولية كبيرة جدا ومن أهم المهن في العالم. فنحن بالنسبة لنا يعني الحاجة اللي خلت المشروع ده ينجح، لأنه يعني وطلال إذا لسه قاعد معنا بيشهد إنه نحن
طلال قاعدة يقول لكم سلامات يا حلوين.
هو يعني عارف وكان معانا في الوقت ذاك وكده، عارف وشاف إنه نحن كيف كتير عانينا وفي حاجات كتير نحن فشلنا فيها في المشروع ده ذاته. فشلنا وفشلنا وفشلنا وفشلنا، والفشل الكثير اللي هو جاب نجاح الفيلم. اوكي، فبعدين يعني الحاجة اللي حتخلي الزول يكون عنده الإصرار والعزيمة إنه يستمر في المشروع ويشوف لحديت النهاية ويكمل، إنه لازم يكون في higher purpose. أنت عندك higher purpose للحاجة اللي أنت بتعملها، والقصة اللي أنت عاوز تقولها دي شنو. أوكي، حتى لو كانت حاجة كوميدي، حتى لو entertainment. أوكي، لازم يكون في هدف. أنت يكون عندك هدف. You have a purpose in the story that you are saying. Or you have some sort of value that you are going to give with the story. Okay, for you personally, there's value in it for you, and there's value in it for other people. So once you can align those two values together, then there's nothing that should stop you from completing what you want to complete, you know, given that, you know, everything is okay. But yeah, so the higher purpose of why you are telling this particular story, why you are in this field, is what's going to get you through, because we're talking about all the struggles of the artists, and once you know what that higher purpose is, it's going to propel you not to keep going and not to stop. So that's very important. That would be my advice, is really know your why. Why are you doing this? because you will crash, and you may need to find something deep inside and pull that out to make you continue to keep going.
Yeah, it really is all about mindset, you know, with this stuff. And so, yeah, just want to second that.
And Meme N is asking, in which language did you read the short story? That's the first part of her question. And who wrote the script in Sudanese Arabic? And then she said, great to hear from you both.
Yeah. So we both read the material in English. I actually felt like that, you know, it's a bit of a disadvantage not being able to read Arabic, because for me at least, because, you know, I think there's a lot you can gain from, you know, understanding the story in the native language in which it was written. So, you know, I felt kind of at a disadvantage there myself. So, but yeah, I read it in English. We collaborated with Isra El-Kogali, who lives in Sweden at the moment. And I reached out to her over email. I liked her work on In Search of Hip Hop. She directed this, you know, short documentary that focused on the hip hop scene in Khartoum in 2011, 2012, something like that. So I liked her work there, and I reached out to her to collaborate on the script. And she wrote several drafts, and then we, Mumdooh and I, took it from there and wrote the remaining drafts. Who translated it into Arabic? Do you remember that, Mumdooh?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of a couple of different people that worked on the development of the script. One of them was Hussam Hilali, I think.
Hilali
and then
took it on first.
Nashadir had some input.
Reem Jaffer also.
And Reem, Nashadir, Hilali. Those people had a lot of input into that.
Yeah. So yeah, we had close friends that we were working with in Khartoum that were very helpful in that process of translation and whatnot. So yeah.
Perfect.
Me being Arabic speaking, sorry, Hagir.
Oh, no, good.
Yeah. Me, you know, just having some background in the Arabic, I read the story both in Arabic and English. And you know, this film really helped my Arabic. You know, Hashim would just push all the Arabic stuff to me, and it was like Arabic boot camp for me, you know, all over again.
I should have
probably you know, I did a lot of translating for myself, and it was good. But I read the story both in English and Arabic, and I tried to have as much of a connection with the Arabic side of the story as much as possible, and tried to discuss things with Hashim in terms of what things meant that were there, in terms of the intertextuality of the text and the culture and things like that. So I think it was a good collaboration between us, just in terms in that regard. Yeah.
Perfect.
But Isra El-Kogali did a great job in writing and adapting the story. So we want to shout out Isra, because she wrote the original screenplay, which she adapted, and then, you know, it went through a lot of versions and a lot of drafts, but she really did a really nice job of adapting a very difficult story to adapt into a screenplay. So
especially a short.
El-Kogali, you said?
El-Kogali.
El-Kogali.
Yes.
شكرا. من هنا بنقول لها شكرا على العمل الرائع اللي قامت بدا. واكيد حنقوم انا بحاول ابحث عنها اي اسم جديد انا بسمعه، بالذات لما تكون young people like you both, regardless, you know, if you're just using your talent to do something to make this world a better place for you, for your family, and for everyone around you. And some people might think how this will make good for anyone or Sudan, because we have those kind of people who think cinema or movies just wasting of time. But bringing Sudanese voice and stories and putting Sudan in a new light, to get away from the violence, from everything associated with it in the past 30 dark years. So thank you for everything you guys are doing. And I know at least your dad, Hashim, was a fighter and was someone who did good to his community. And I think I can say the same about Mamdooh family, because they created both of you guys. Thanks to them. And from here, I wanted everyone listening to us to just listen to the young people around you. I don't care where you grew up here in the United States, you immigrated here, how you came here, or in Europe, Canada, anywhere. Please listen to your kids, listen to their ambitions, try to support them in any way or form you can. And if you can't do that, don't be another obstacles in their way to pursue success and happiness. So I think one of you have the behind the scene.
Oh, do you have that ready to go?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, he's always on.
Pretty much.
He's always on it.
It's about 10 minutes. Did you want to watch the whole thing, or maybe just?
I mean,
maybe
whatever
just
part you choose, you can do that. And Ayn Mim said, thank you guys for your answer and experience.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
And he's a guy. His name is Adil.
Okay, thank you, Adil.
Okay. And Talal is watching as well. So thank you for everyone who's staying with us this whole time and watching. ممدوح لو behind the scene حاسبات كتيرة وعايز to play just a part, you can do that too.
Okay, I think we can play just maybe a part of it. Sorry, this was not ready. Just go much faster if I go online.
طلال بيقول لكم كانت من أجمل التجارب فعلا يا شباب.
يا سلام تسلمي يا أستاذ سينماتيك.
طلال إنسان مهذب جدا وواعي جدا.
خالص. By the way, we want to shout out Talal because he was very instrumental in the success of this film. يعني هو طبعا معليش يا أستاذ طلال لكن هو زول متواضع جدا, and he doesn't like to be in the front scenes and he doesn't like to show off وكده. لكن I just have to say إنه هو ساعدنا كثير جدا جدا بمعارف وكونتاكتس وصبر معانا ووقف معانا ونحن عذبناه شديد جدا جدا. لكن غايته شكرا لطلال وشكرا لسودان فيلم فاكتوري وشكرا لإلاف الكنزي as well, and everyone in Sudan Film Factory that contributed to this film. يعني نحن we're in complete happiness with you.
Yeah, ألف شكرا.
We're in your debt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna share the screen. It's nice. It goes by fast. Maybe we'll watch a few minutes and then
okay.
We'll right here. So screen 2.
There's a pattern to genius. There's a method behind the magic. I always
Yeah, good sound.
All right, sound is rolling and roll camera.
Camera is roll.
And action. Things of the behind the scenes. حاجات رهيبة خالص.
She's taking care of what people are eating. Nescafe, ketchup, kebab shai. Some behind the scenes. This is there's Wala.
making amazing.
We say بالسوداني عايش الدور.
اللي جابك شنو مالك؟ ما مشيت البيت؟
انا جيت اساعدك في حشر التمر.
خلاص
بعدين حتمشوا كامل يعني شنو؟
تمشوا ما في جاب.
خذوا وقتكم. There's like a space there. Let them walk. No, there's like an awkward silence. Let them walk. Don't make sure he knows that he's gonna give him time. Let them walk a few steps, right? Yeah, let it linger.
All right.
That was amazing. And I think while people were watching and they might be enjoying this, I was enjoying it. And at the same time thinking, you know, you got this done with few resources. Like just watching how they made that, you know, the screen, how you did this, like with few things, not a lot, right? You didn't have a lot of budget. Of course in Sudan there is not a lot. يعني بقروش بسيطة جدا جدا قدرتوا تعملوا الشغل ده وبحاجات كلها موجودة محليا، مش كده؟
نعم الحاجات كلها كانت محلية من السودان، ودي نقطة مهمة جدا، إنه إحنا مشينا السودان أنا وهاشم بس، يعني بدون أي كاميرات، بدون أي أجهزة، بدون أي قروش شوية قروش، لكن معظم ال fundraising وتمويل الفيلم جاء من السودان، ودي نقطة مهمة جدا. اوكي، إن احنا صبرنا عليه، ولكن معظم الفندنج جاء من السودان، ونحن مشينا للقطاع الخاص، معظمه جاء من القطاع الخاص. اوكي، فمشينا لشركات خاصة، ومشينا لناس individuals، وأي جهة ممكن نلم منها قروش مشينا لمينا منهم قروش. فقدرنا إنه في السودان ذاته قدرنا إنه نعمل fundraising للفيلم ده في السودان. وبعدين keep in mind إنه this was at the height of the عمر البشير regime. يعني نحن بعد ما صورنا الفيلم، اوكي، بعد زي سنة ونص قامت الثورة، اوكي، اللي هي سقطت عمر البشير والرجيم بتاعه كده. فنحن يعني التنشن في السوشيال بوليتيكال كلايمت كان عالي جدا، ونحن قدرنا في الوقت ذاك انه نمول الفيلم ده. وفعلا في جهات بتصعب لك المشروع، لكن في جهات تانية كثيرة بتساعدك وبتأيدك بحاجات يعني تانية. فنحن لقينا الموارد، ولقينا كل الأشخاص والفريق كله كوناه من هناك. السينماتوغرافر اللي هو خالد عوض، عنده الشركة بتاعته اسمها هايلايت برودكشنز، كان عندهم معظم الإكويبمنت، مثلا معظم الإكويبمنت هم كان عندهم. كان في شركة تانية جبنا منها الإضاءة، اوكي، اللايتنج، حاجات زي دي. لكن كل الناس اللي اشتغلوا معانا كانوا من السودان. العمل ده كله عملوه ناس في السودان، وتمول في السودان، والإنتاج بتاعه في السودان، والتصوير بتاعه في السودان، إلا البوست برودكشن. نحن عشان نرجع لحياتنا هنا في أمريكا we had to come back to for work وكده وحاجات زي دي. لكن في البوست برودكشن اللي هو الإديتنج بتاع الفيلم، بيكون فيه الإديتنج والساوند والموسيقى والكولر والحاجات زي دي، كان هنا. لكن لو كنا عاوزين نعمله هناك برضو كنا عملناه هناك، بس ما كان عندنا الوقت وكده، كان لازم نرجع. لكن دي نقطة مهمة، كل الموارد اللي شايفينها، كل الريسورسز، كل الناس ديل، ده كله شغل كله من داخل السودان. فده دليل إنه الأفلام ممكن تنتج وتتمول وتتصور في السودان، في إمكانيات لإنتاج هناك أكيد.
Hashim?
Yeah, no, he pretty much told our story. We came with very little, and we reached out to the private sector, and there was some money gotten from family and friends, and we reached out to Khalid Awad, who had a production company, Highlight Productions, and also people that he knew to provide the lighting. And whatnot, and that's how we got our resources together. And of course, Talal connected us with a number of people in Khartoum that then we ended up working with. And but yeah, it was quite the production that we took up 4 hours, 5 hours to Shamalia, and yeah, you know, that was.
وما ننسى نترحم على الطيب صالح وعبد الحكيم الطاهر. أعتقد إنه بعد البرودكشن دي ما كتير هو توفى بعدها
نعم
بفترة يعني.
نعم الله يرحمه.
So طيب last thing أنا عارفة ممدوح قبل he talked about his advice and يعني what you think people can get out of this whole conversation. So what if I ask you both to say like one last word or words to the people that are listening to us in any language that you're comfortable with, like what do you want them to take out of this, and how can they support you and support حفنة? Hashim?
I go first. Okay. Yeah. Just yeah, love. I mean, really love what you do, because you're going to. I know this is a few words, but you pay a price for doing this kind of work, and so you have to love it. Essentially, that's what I would say, and yeah.
Yeah, Sudanese cinema is on the rise. It's on the rise, and it's evident from all the success that all the other films are having as well. Okay, there are other filmmakers. We know who they are and we know the films, but Sudanese cinema is definitely on the rise, and you can support in any way. If you are someone who's wealthy and you see that maybe there's an opportunity for a film being made, support it with your resources. Support it by watching, support it by social media. Any way that you can support Sudanese cinema, please support. And there's it's coming up, it's on a rise. There's one thing I would like to mention about maybe why Sudanese cinema is on the rise. If you look at, and I always like to talk about this, but if you look at film history, if we study film history, we will see that a lot of the film movements that came about, they all have this pattern and this similarity, whether it was in film movements in Europe, like in Italy with neorealism or expressionism, or in India, or maybe the golden age of the Cairo film industry in the 1940s, even Hollywood film movements in Africa. They always seem to come about at a time of very heavy social and political challenging climates. At a time where popular culture is rising because of the social political climate. So what's happening now in the past decade, as we've seen what's happening in Sudan, as well as in the MENA region, Middle East, North Africa, right? It all began with the Arab Spring, and then slowly started to flourish and kind of just all kinds of things happening around the MENA region. So because of that, storytelling takes on a whole new life. It takes on a whole new life. So don't let the social climate, don't let the political climate affect you. Actually, if we look at history, it is the time when art, media, storytelling, film come about. So this is the time to support. This is the time where the really good stories are going to come out. This is the time to support. Don't feel discouraged by anything going on. If you want to make a film in Sudan, you can do that. If you want to tell stories from that region, there's plenty of stories to tell. And just keep striving and keep pushing forward. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And there's a lot of other filmmakers that will vouch for that. We are just happy to be a part of it. We're just a very small part of it. There's bigger things happening. There's more films being made. And we encourage everyone to be involved in whichever way they can, because the arts and storytelling play a very big role in the human condition and making progress in that regard. So,
well said.
Well said. And I just want to thank both of you for giving us the time, for coming out here and staying with us for the whole hour. And I want to thank everyone who's listening, who shared and commenting. And for both of you, I wish you the best of luck. And I'm going to definitely hear from you. And hopefully we'll hear more awards, and we will be able at some point to watch the movie here in Netflix or somewhere accessible for everyone to watch. Thank you both.
Yeah, appreciate
Thank you so much.
Thank
Hagir,
you.
thank you.
And we're just gonna play some of your pictures to end with, like we started.
Okay.